We'll call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. Kayla, can you please do a roll call?
Supervisor Goebel,
Here.
Supervisor Fortner,
Here.
Chairperson Friday,
Here.
Supervisor Ferguson,
Here.
Supervisor Joy.
Here.
I can verify that proper notice was given. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public comment limited to 15 minutes total. In-person attendees only, limited to 3 minutes per person with no time donations from others. Agenda items only. Anyone wishing to speak, please prepare to come forward to the table, speak clearly into the microphone. Start by stating name, address, and agenda items to be addressed. Is there any public comments?
Thanks. I reside at N3435 Green Road during the winter. During the other seasons, I reside at W1630 Vega Road. I'm here to speak on agenda items number 5, approving this agenda, and agenda item number 6, public comment. I must say that I'm disappointed that this agenda has been approved. The reason is because last week I made an agenda request, which was fairly denied. And I asked to share my opinions on this request to Chairperson Friday, which she said would not be allowed during public comment. So I forwarded the email chain to the other 4 supervisors asking for a motion to speak freely on my opinions for this agenda item. And none of you got back to me, and no such motion was made, so I'm disappointed. And I may note that Kayla Hawkins actually said one of the things that I wish to speak on would be allowed during public comment last week, but that was superseded by Chairperson Friday. Regarding public comment, Chairperson Friday, you have stifled the voices of the people since you assumed office. Every single regular meeting, you have limited the time to 3 minutes per person. And in the ordinances, section 2-134, it stipulates a 5-minute time limit per person. That was in effect until last January when you removed that stipulation from the ordinances. So for the months of April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and January, you were out of compliance. And ironically, this last September, when you changed the ordinances of that chapter again, you actually reinstated that 5-minute time limit. So you've been out of compliance for the months of October, November, and this meeting. The public should be able to speak freely beyond agenda items, and time donations should be allowed. And I believe that more time should be set aside to hear the voices of the people. And that is all. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any other public comment? All right, we will move on to announcements. One thing I will address from the public comment that was made, the 5-minute time limit is for public hearings. That has never changed. Additionally, DNR, there are no updates to share. Tyco, their update has been uploaded to the website, and that includes 129 replacement wells have been requested. That's 3 more since last month. 88 replacement wells have been installed. That's 5 more since last month. Drillers are working on the new monitoring wells this week as per the last access agreement amendment that was done. I also want to address property taxes. I received my property tax bill in the mail and assume everyone else did as well or will be soon. I would encourage everyone to review their bill to see where their money goes. And when you're tempted to make statements such as Town of Peshtigo should not raise taxes, our taxes are already high enough. Or do better as board members, my property taxes pay your wages. Or do better maintaining roads and snow plowing, that's what I pay property taxes for. Or the recycling center should be free with as much as I pay in property taxes, which all of which I've heard at one time or another. Consider just how much you should reasonably expect from the town of Peshtigo based solely on the amount of your property taxes that you pay. Because I'm not sure how much I should personally expect with the $112 that the town gets from me. $112. My property tax bill is $2,200 prior to any credits. $112. That's 5%. So where does the money go? The majority goes to the Marinette School District. They get 56%. If you live in the Peshtigo School District, they get 58%. The county gets 33%. Technical College gets 6%. And the town of Peshtigo gets 5%. I just want to bring this up because I think that there's some knowledge that can be gained. So just take a look at your property tax bill and it's broken down. Take a look to see what does the town get. And FYI, that rate that we get has been locked in since 2005. We're going on 20 years, no increases. Any other announcements from anyone else? All right, number 8, minute approval, November 19th, 2024 regular board meeting. This is in your packets, pages 1 and 2. Is there anybody opposed to approving these minutes? And we will go by unanimous consent. Fire department report.
But to provide my report for the town supervisors, we should have that. We did have 10 calls since the last board meeting, variety, several vehicle fires, one structure fire from Tom Wagner, several vehicle crashes that we respond to, several EMS assists, and one carbon monoxide incident. So just on carbon monoxide, this is the time of year folks just again check your vents, check your furnaces, make sure everything is in good operating condition. Do not ever run your vehicle inside your garage, whether the doors are open or closed. So that's all causes of carbon monoxide. And we did have the one resident that had very high levels of carbon monoxide, and folks were woken up in the middle of the night or early, around midnight to their alarms going off. If they wouldn't have had alarms, they probably would not have woke up in the night. Okay, so take that seriously. You can't smell it, you can't see it, you can't touch it. Carbon monoxide is known as a silent killer. And it's very serious. So have alarms, listen to those alarms. If they go off, call 911. Okay, we took delivery of our 3 new air packs that we budgeted for and purchased this year's capital funds. All of our apparatus is winterized, prepared for cold weather operation. We just completed training last night here for Stop the Bleed. Our firefighters went through the Stop the Bleed program. Several of us completed fire inspection training. And we're in the process of wrapping up this week all of the fire inspections that we're getting out from all our businesses, so it should be done by the end of this week. Under personnel, we had our annual awards banquet. Very pleased to see all of the board was there and the staff was there. One of our new firefighters, Chad Jacobson, we released him off of probation to award him to active firefighter status. Adam Stazak, another one of our firefighters, received a 10-year acknowledgement and award for himself. Ryan Cass, one of our captains, received 2024 Firefighter of the Year. And town supervisor and 50-year firefighter Clarence Vogel was awarded trying to energize your body, still kicking. I'm slowing down a little bit. That's all I have. Thanks, Mike.
And of those 50 years, he was chief for 21 years. So highly commendable. Constable report. This is gonna probably read a little different than last month. So I am paying attention to what is in my packet. We had 6 dogs at large, 1 abandoned dog, 1 dead deer, shooting near residence, 30 bags of garbage dumped on side of road off of BB, a junk vehicle, horses without food or water, and garbage dumped on Heath Lane. Building inspector, there were 8 permits issued last month for a total of 104 year to date. Dave Beekler, do you have a Marinette County report that you want to give? Thank you. Number 10, treasurer report. This is on page 5 of your packet. Anybody opposed to approving the treasurer's report? We'll go by unanimous consent. You have a copy of the bills. Is there a motion to approve or any discussion?
Motion to approve paid bill.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Annual newsletter. So typically we mail out the annual newsletter and it costs roughly 2,000, 2,500.
Yeah, 15 to 2, give or take.
And this year, even though it gets mailed to every resident, there were still some residents who weren't aware of the recycling center being closed certain days. And we're just trying to figure out if that makes sense to continue. We've got the website. We could do like a display in the entryway of the town hall that's not locked. We could do something at recycling center. Kathy put together. Thank you. A suggestion was made to do a flyer that has the calendar on one side and just some basically bullet points on the back. So it'd be a one pager. And that was sent out to everybody. Any discussion? That's a good idea.
Yeah, and the things that are on the back, we just kind of pick the most common things that are asked, the information that is generally kind of pertains to everybody, but everything else is still on the website, of course, too.
I'd like this idea. We wouldn't mail it all. We would put it on the website.
Hand
Maybe,
them out at the recycling center. We'll have them there and they
We
can,
could have copies here in the recycling center.
right,
don't ask for them, just hand them out and put
right,
a folder out in the entryway with them in there.
yeah,
Anybody can stop by and grab one anytime they want.
The thing to remember too is like our current one, obviously, if prices ever change for stuff, then it's out of date right away. If like we send them out, yeah, current supervisors aren't even on there. So like if we send them out in January, that could potentially change in April, so they're then out of date with wrong phone numbers. People are getting calls that aren't even on the board anymore, so it's just,
it would be easier to update and then
Right.
put more out there.
yeah, we
So,
can change anything that we want to do. And
Plus
just
the
put it
cost
out
of
there.
mailing that newsletter, now postage went up again. so
right.
For the nail and some more. I think it was near the neighborhood of 2,500 last year.
Mhm.
And I believe postage is going up again in January, or there's talk of it, so I don't know. if
Somebody
that's
said it went to
also-
70 cents.
It's like 77.
It's probably $500 worth of for it.
Yeah. Well, 1,000 absentee ballots there went out at $1.40 a piece for postage. 1,000.
Mhm.
That's what it costs, because there's 2 stamps goes out with every absentee ballot that's sent out. So postage is a big issue when you start doing stuff, and so you buy 500, didn't go far.
If someone was.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah, people could ask for it. We could email it. Yep.
We have here at the recycling center at Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
People that have questions, have already got mailed one.
Any other important information that you guys would think should go on the back?
Definitely the email. That was a good call.
Um,
I would maybe, I-
maybe
it's on there.
Yeah, it's on the top one, but we could move it up to the top just so it's a little more visible.
And I know that we added on there about the burn barrels not being allowed in residential. I would maybe make that bold. It's somewhere.
It's under annual burning permit.
Yep. Well, maybe you don't need to make it bold. I just know that was a request just to make sure people were aware.
what's considered a residential area?
R1 and R2.
Oh, so anything that's not.
Mhm.
Yeah. We could say that too, zone residential.
Yeah, maybe
might
make
be
that
helpful.
clear.
That might spell it out better.
Mhm.
Yeah, so not just thinking they live in neighborhood.
Anything else? There a motion to move forward with this? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, number 12, discounted fire number signs. We do have that on the flyer already. Typically, we do a discount from $35 down to $25 for a new fire number and post. We run that whenever, sometime at the beginning of the year, so.
Usually through the spring election, so that which would be April 1st. for them.
And so I know on this, it said January 1st through April 1st. Is there any opposition to that?
No, and I think that we should encourage people to go out and look at your fire number.
Mhm.
There's a lot of fire numbers not visible in the town. And a lot of them go back to when they were originally put in them. There's no reflectivity left on them at all. They're hard to see at night. And it's actually by our ordinance, it's up to you to keep your fire number updated so that it's visible and readable. And we do it for $25. The town's not making absolutely nothing on that. That's why we do a group order on it in May. So they bring them up on a truck and we don't have to pay a bunch of shipping on each one of them. That's how we can do it for 25, is include the post and the sign. So, but go out and look at your fire numbers. There's some of them that are down in the ditch. There's some of them buried behind brush, trees. And they're supposed to be when you're looking in your driveway to the right side of your driveway. Some cases you can't do that because there's something else there blocking that, but. And they need to be visible. And the new ones are at a right angle to the road, which are much more visible to people when they're responding out in emergency. And I know if your house is full of flames, the fire department will see it, and we won't need the fire. That does not help law enforcement, and it does not help medical when you're laying in the living room having a heart attack and they can't find your fire number.
Or carbon monoxide
Oh.
poisoning.
You know, that's what you need to keep in mind. We call them fire numbers, they're actually your address. And,
Yeah, if you can't see it coming home at night on your own, neither can emergency personnel see it either, so. It's one good thing to look at when you come home and you're done.
We can maybe do like a flyer to post on the website, encouraging people to do that, and then also advertising for the discounted. Gracie from Peshtigo Times is here, and I'm sure she'll include that in her report. So. All right, so we will move forward with that. Any other discussion? I was just gonna do unanimous consent. All right, number 13, Dennis Chapusky has resigned from Plan Commission. Basically, just he doesn't really have an interest in doing that. Thankfully, Joel Ortman has agreed to step forward. Do you want to say anything? I don't want to put you on the spot. Okay, so that's Joel Ortman, the one who I gave you the application in your packet. I don't know, does anybody have any questions for him? You don't have to put him on the spot. All right, do you want to make him?
You need a motion to appoint him?
Yeah, let's make
To
him.
fill out that term, what's the term?
So it would be term fulfillment through March 31st, 2027.
I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, number 14. So I gave you the email from DNR, how this came up about the ordinance, and then also page 6 is the ordinance that we're looking at, I can't talk, potentially changing. And basically what they were recommending, currently we have it where you have to be 300 yards from a dwelling for shooting firearms. And they felt that, DNR felt this was quite restrictive, so wanted to update it to 100 yards to match what the state law is.
Okay, when this was put together, the 300 yards was for target shooting more than it was for the hunting. I guess that didn't come into play. I would be opposed to changing the 300 yards for target shooting. But put a clause in there that for hunting purposes, you meet the state's requirements, which are 100 yards.
So 100 yards per state.
That's what the DNR requirements are for
Right.
discharging a firearm. So that would not restrict the hunting at all.
Mhm.
That's matches up with them, but the target shooting, as we found out this past week, 300 yards ain't even enough.
So what, I don't disagree totally with you, but if on target practice is my land. Stop and target, set it up. Presume the neighbors around, it's still me.
It exempts your own property.
Does it say that in
I
here?
believe that's in there.
I would do that, but
Other than the property owner.
Property owner,
Mhm.
and I don't know why it makes a difference, I mean, you still have to be, in compliance, even at 100 yards, if there's somebody else beyond you, you still can't shoot the neighbors.
Well,
Because you've got 100 yards.
I don't know how you enforce those kind of things, you know. The complaint we had on this last weekend, a shooting went on for 2.5 hours and was driving the neighbors crazy. They're plinking shells out there. They're on their own property. And like I said, 300 yards ain't far enough because they were probably 300 yards away from the neighbor's property. But I have no idea if they've got a backstop. I have no idea what they're shooting at. There's hunters out in the woods this past weekend, so if you're shooting into a woods,
That's a DNR.
well, we can enforce it under our ordinance of the 300, but it's outside of the 300, so we really don't have anything unless you get into the nuisance side of ordinances and argue with that. I'm just saying I'd be opposed to going to 100 yards for all shooting. You know, at least you got some restriction with the 300 in heavily populated areas.
There can always be an argument with it, so I mean, I don't know.
That's fine. That was my opinion. I'm just going back when this was put in, there was a pile of discussion when the plan commission originally did that. You know, probably 15 years ago now, when they first, 2009, I think is when this was first discussed. And that's what they came up with. But nobody thought of the hunting 100 yards.
Mhm.
So they sent it to the planning commission.
And you've got 2 of the members here right now, but we can and see what they think.
Yeah, how many times?
7 total, 5. But we would-
That special meeting for. Discuss it and bring it back. And by that time, if it's in the paper, you'll have some feedback from your residents.
And then we can always kind of research to see what other municipalities do too.
They got some restrictions by the, for some different. Yeah, so, they want us to change this, but yet they restrict anybody to shoot on shooting, so they can shoot it.
Was chapter 34 one of them that we were having the plan commission review? What's the chapter title? Do you remember?
Yeah, and the shooting range issue didn't come about until people were on the river behind the range and the shells are landing, the rounds are landing in the river alongside of them. You know, and you can have the same thing going on here, if people don't be responsible at how they're shooting, and they're shooting into somebody else's property. And then, like I said, this last weekend was the T-zone hunt, so you had hunters out in the woods, and these guys are blasting shells off.
Oh, I agree, you know, fix stupidity.
I understand.
Mhm.
It's just-
It is one of them.
All
All right, we'll bring it back to the plan commission and then we'll go from there.
Further discussion. that's
Yeah.
all. We're doing people speak.
Anybody opposed to that? All right, 15A, capital improvement plan. Dale, do you want to update on
I
that?
don't know, put an update that movie around this month is sitting in, David's hands, but the road information off the face of report. Spend. Should be. Because he's- So-
Mhm. So he's working with Delmore as well to kind of come up with a road plan of how we could get us up to condition of good repair.
Got some money.
There's some money tied to that, so that's why I said I'm paying the town $112.
Say they want the road fixed, that's where you're at, so it's just a snapshot of what it is, and what everybody chooses to do, you do.
Mhm.
Good snapshot.
Yep.
You pay.
Yep. So I think once we kind of get maybe a proposed idea of this is what we could look at, then we'd bring the full thing back to the board, and that's just roads. That's not even talking about equipment repair, replacement, that kind of thing. So,
That's all in it.
right. All right, CDBG. So HVAC update. There are some global supply chain issues, surprise, surprise. A final amendment for construction completion extension to April 30th. With final reporting and administration being June 30th was executed today. So I don't see a reason why Department of Administration would not approve it. They've been working with us all along. But
They've expected.
right. But Jerry with GPS got an email from the supplier just this past week saying that looks like maybe February they'd get the equipment, so it's gonna be some time there. And are they supposed to be doing some work this week?
Well, I'm sure they pushed that back. They're gonna
Because
start
of-
cutting the holes, but until they get the equipment, they don't wanna make a mess of it.
Sure,
So they get. That's my
okay.
I haven't talked to them this week.
But yeah, since we're pushing it back that much more, that wouldn't surprise me that they would delay it a little bit more. MSA building or billing update. So last month we talked about how we basically overpaid MSA for this grant administration by almost $3,300. MSA's response on November 26th from Ben was that he would be confirming with accounting department. I haven't heard anything. I emailed today for an update and haven't heard anything, so we will just
They
keep,
the last one.
we'll just keep waiting to hear on that. Anything else on CDBG from anyone? Ordinance policy review. So this is pages 7 through 39 of your packet. So the review, ordinance review committee met, this is for chapters 10 and 24. The main changes are removing the requirement for electrical hookup prior to building permit issuance. And in making these recommendations, I discussed with the building inspector, had discussions with Mike Folgert, Karen Sylvester. So it wasn't just us making these recommendations, it was incorporating their recommendations as well. Removing the applicability of building code to alterations of existing buildings, requiring a fence for work being done to 15 feet from property lines. I think currently it said 10 feet, so to just get that set up with setbacks. Changing the timeline from 120 days to 60 days as to when uncovered foundations would be deemed abandoned. That was to be in line with the previous section that had said 60, so it contradicted itself. Requiring official town issued fire number signs. And specifying the requirement for shared driveways. So that's all for chapter 10. Chapter 24, the main changes were vehicle accident response fee exceptions to include active member of fire department, rescue squad, or town resident. Increasing the age requirement for attending to fires from 16 to 18 years of age. 15-foot property line setback for outdoor fuel-fired heating devices, again, to get in line with our other setbacks. So that's the gist of those changes.
Okay, I got a question.
Mhm.
On page 12. Under definition of both.
Okay,
Is that that agricultural building definition, is that what's currently in the ordinance?
yes. I did not change that at all.
Yeah, well, I don't think that's an appropriate definition for a building. It says in there, ag building means a building on a parcel in which 50% of the personal income is derived from farming operation. So if somebody's got a job that's making 100,000 a year and they want to sell strawberries and they only make 25,000 a year, they can't have an ag building to put the stuff in. And who's gonna verify those income requirements?
So can I will
I think
take,
ag building should be allowed anywhere in ag 1 and ag 2 over 5 acres, 5 acres or more.
I
They
just,
should be able to have an ag accessory building.
page
uh,
12,
It's 6, it says 6 of 14 on the bottom, but it's page 12 in the. And it's under general technical code.
I just want to
I
make,
don't ever remember reading that in there before, so what that,
yeah, no, that was not a change. That's what it
Right.
was said before.
well,
Do you think does it make sense to check states, like, does the state have definition of what an agricultural building is? I don't know if that's
there's
where
no
it came
code for
from.
an egg building.
So what do you want to change it to?
I would just say it should be allowed, it's an accessory building, that they'd be allowed in ag 1,
Mm-hmm.
properties owned ag 1, and ag 2 over 5 acres, that's your ag.
So do we
limit.
even need that in here? I mean, we already spell that out in ag 1 and 2. Does this even need to say what an agricultural
It's
building
fine to
is?
Take it out, but if this is a definition of what an ag building is, I don't know if the other, where you're talking definition in there.
Need it.
Right, right. I don't,
Build whatever you want.
why do you
Yeah,
need it?
and, I don't know why it would be based on income. 'cause,
Right.
You
I don't know why you would need the definition in there on the zoning ones.
that's why reading it, I told you it made real good reading when I sat down
Mhm.
to read. I bumped across that and I said, what?
So are you good if I just take that whole part
I
out?
would take it right out of there
Okay.
if we're gonna approve it tonight, unless you wanted to go back to your plan commission with it.
No, I think they'd be good with that.
Do they have definitions in other categories?
There's certain areas where they have, yeah. And some of the definitions we took out if it didn't make sense. Some of them were per state statute, so.
Yeah.
Then I'll remove that part. Any other changes?
Nope,
So do you want to make a motion to approve
I will
said
approve it
changes
as,
with that?
with the change, I approve it.
Not good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We want to pass. Yeah. Signatures, please.
I make a motion signatures, we go to the next meeting.
Yeah.
Already got two. Send them to me.
Takes
You
3.
need 3.
Where's the third?
Sign
Oh, I
the
didn't see the top one. Oh.
We can still notice it with this and then I'll do another one.
Yeah.
Cause this is like a new one, yeah. Hurry up, you're cutting into my time here.
You bet.
You and Daryl can talk.
Ain't got their sign, do they?
I think if we'd done this all at one meeting, we'd only have to find one.
Get that right.
So we only have 10 chapters left to review.
Yeah, that's all we have left. Mimi's doing a good job.
Well, I think
And
it's-
Debbie.
I think
And
it's
Debbie.
Good that we're cleaning that thing up and getting rid of that Mexican wording out of there.
Mhm,
It'll be something that people can look at without spending hours.
right.
And Candy
Mhm.
and Cindy
And Wayne
and Wayne
and Joy.
and Joyce.
You know,
Side one.
I'm done.
I dated them.
Either one of these.
Why is Clarence so far behind?
Shocking.
Cause I make my signature readable.
Me too.
You
can move
make an
on.
X.
Very consistent.
this man's sorting all the product.
Because I'm glancing at everything I'm signing so that I know it ain't something that shouldn't be signed.
Oh, we got this.
You know.
All right, 16A, buildings and grounds.
Okay, Oshkosh roof, we're supposed to start on the roof the third week of December. I believe we're in the third week of December and he has not started on the roof, so I will get a hold of him and see if he's updated his time frame. He said he'd be letting me know, but you know, he's got 3 more days.
Mhm.
No. He's,
I think it'd be.
I'm
nice
just
to get
gonna
rid
call
of
him,
this
ask him
ARPA
what he's
funds.
gonna
This is
do,
the
but
last of it.
that ARPA funds is tied into
Yeah,
that.
so it's just nice to get that done and over with. So
Mhm.
file the last report in April. Be nice.
Maybe we should get a hold of him and tell him that he can stretch it out, but he pays us, we'll just take $5,000 off the bill. I don't think that's gonna work, but, I just want an update of what is, he said he'd let us know by the third week in December, so. He still may.
Not over.
All right, anything else? Recycling center.
You can start this. There's no other than that, what you have, there's no new.
The other thing on the recycling center, we wanna add some additional lighting to light up in between the dumpsters for the dark parts of the day.
Okay,
I can't see it costing over $500, so we'll probably go ahead with that. Just letting the board know that we're gonna do that.
sounds good.
And,
Really gotta use the lights to make things back to stay.
well, we're gonna hook them up so there's a switch in that building, so they can be shut off. They won't be something that'll be on all night long. So it'll be something that can put up some LED lighting and everything like that. Pardon? Well, then we'll dock them bay or something. Yeah, LED lighting don't cost that much, but
No, I would have that.
could do that though.
Switches return money instead of time.
What's happening, that big yard light we got out there at the power pole shadows that whole rest of the thing, and it, you know, it's not getting dark any earlier than it has in past years this time of the year, but it's been brought to our attention that it's a safety issue in between. So we'll get a light in there and take care of our guys. They want a light. No, we'll probably put it on the side of the compactor roof. And pull the power out of the shed there, so it ain't a long ways to go.
All right, roads and ditches.
I have nothing new. Unless.
Nothing new, still,
Can I make a report on road?
no,
Can I make a comment underneath of that?
no,
Sure.
Jeff, is he here?
no.
Is Jeff here?
No,
here?
I think
No.
he's hiding.
What area? Excellent, excellent job on Old Cedar Way. Perfect.
What about down below?
Well, that's all good, but Old Cedar Way has got a meaning to it.
All we have is the snow plowing, same complaints every year, Greater Roosevelt. Greater Roosevelt and Stanley, so instead of going on Facebook, call the town hall. Or call me or Daryl and tell us, if you don't tell us, we can't fix it,
But don't
So-
expect everybody to get theirs at 7.
no.
Mhm.
That's what some of they want to get the first one. You can't drive past every road, do some of the things.
And we know the major roads, and those are the first roads they're gonna be plowing, so. Which are Stanley, Roosevelt and
Greater.
Reader, and Old Peshtigo and the Prentice Road,
All right,
so.
next meeting will be Tuesday, January 21st
Motion
at
adjourned.
6 P.M. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? 15 minutes longer than last month.